the car that, at the end of the first Fast and Furious, I'm driving in Mexico.
I think Fast has moved from the streets.
It's impossible to receive an award and not feel emotional.
For years, he's let the movies show the action, but never the real story. Behind the steel doors of his private garage lies more than horsepower. It's a hidden chapter of his life, filled with rare machines, personal treasures, and moments frozen in time. One vehicle stands apart, carrying a truth he's kept to himself, until now. Get ready to see the side of him the cameras never captured. Dominic Toretto's 1970 Dodge Charger RT. When you hear the name Vin Diesel, one image instantly comes to mind: Dominic Toretto. And when you think of Toretto, you can almost see it. That sleek, black beast of a machine, the 1970 Dodge Charger RT. It's more than just a car. For Toretto, it's memory, fear, and family all rolled into one roaring engine. In the Fast and Furious saga, the Charger was built by Dominic and his father. After his father's tragic death during a stock race caused by Kenny Linder, Dom couldn't bring himself to drive it. The car became more than metal. It became a reminder of pain, fear, and power, locked away. And yet, when Brian O'Connor joined the crew, Dom finally lifted the cover. Under the hood, a monstrous 9-liter Mercury Racing twin-turbo 5.8, capable of spitting out an insane 1,600 horsepower on racing fuel. That's not just speed. That's a street-legal rocket waiting to explode. But here's where the line between film and reality blurs. Universal Studios confirmed that they spent over $1 million designing a custom mid-engine Dodge Charger for F9. It wasn't just nostalgia, it was innovation, blending old-school muscle with futuristic performance. Think about it. A car born in the 1970s, reimagined to rival modern supercars. And then comes the real-life twist. On Vin Diesel's 52nd birthday, the Fast family surprised him with his own Charger. A real, road-shaking 70 Dodge Charger. Diesel himself shared the moment online, and the roar of that engine could raise goosebumps. But his reaction said it all. It wasn't just about owning the car. It was about who gave it to him. This was family, in the truest sense. Then came the most emotional detail. Looking into the camera, Diesel spoke to someone who wasn't there, his late friend and brother, Paul Walker, known to him as Pablo. He said, "You see this, Pablo? We hope to make you proud."
And then one day he's gone. And it's a very heavy experience. I know you all suffered loss.
That moment transformed the Charger from a machine into a memorial. A piece of the franchise's soul, echoing loyalty, love, and loss. Of course, movie tricks helped boost the Charger's legend. Remember that iconic wheelie in the first Fast and Furious? The real car can't actually do that. The stunt team used a hydraulic ram hidden underneath the chassis to lift the front wheels. But does that make the Charger any less iconic? Not at all. If the Charger had that kind of presence, what kind of car could possibly top it in the saga? Well, the answer lies in the next jaw-dropping machine. Rare Hypersport. While Vin Diesel will always be tied to classic American muscle, his garage doesn't stop at Detroit iron. His taste stretches into the future, into machines that don't just roar, but almost look like they were built for another planet. And among all those cars, one sits like a crown jewel, the Lykan Hypersport. Now, if the name sounds familiar, that's because you've seen it before, flying between skyscrapers in Furious 7. That jaw-dropping stunt wasn't CGI trickery, It was a real Lykan Hypersport.
Time to unleash the beast.
A car so rare and so valuable that even crashing replicas made headlines. But here's the wild part. This isn't just a movie car. The Lykan Hypersport is an engineering miracle, one that costs a mind-blowing $3.7 million. And yes, Vin Diesel owns one. So, what makes it worth that kind of money? Let's start with the showstoppers. The headlights aren't just LEDs, they're encrusted with 420 real diamonds. Buyers could even choose to swap the stones for rubies, sapphires, or yellow diamonds. Step inside, and you're greeted not by a traditional touchscreen, but by a holographic display that floats above the center console like something out of Iron Man. You don't just press buttons, you wave your hand, Minority Report style, and the car obeys. But the Lykan isn't only about looks. Beneath that sculpted, razor-edged body lies a 3.7-liter twin-turbo flat-six engine built by RUF in Germany. That engine pushes out 750 horsepower, enough to launch the car from 0 to 60 miles per hour in just 2.8 seconds and hit a top speed of 240 miles per hour. That's Bugatti territory, but with a Middle Eastern flair that screams exclusivity. And exclusivity is the key word. WW Motors, the UAE-based company behind the Lykan, built only 7 cars in total. 7. To put that into perspective, there are more astronauts who've walked on the moon than there are Lykan Hypersports in the world. That makes Vin Diesel's ownership even more unbelievable. It's not just rare, it's almost mythical. Of course, unlike the Charger, this wasn't a gift. Vin had to buy it, and considering the price tag, that says a lot about how much he truly wanted this car in his collection. It reminds fans of that unforgettable skyscraper stunt, one of the most daring moments in the Fast franchise, and ties Diesel's personal collection back to the saga that made him a household name. But here's the question. After standing in front of a supercar with diamonds in its headlights, what else could impress you inside Vin Diesel's garage? Well, the answer might surprise you. Because the next reveal isn't a futuristic hypercar, it's something deeply rooted in American history. Train Heist Chevrolet. Vin Diesel's garage isn't only about extremes. Somewhere between classic and futuristic sits another legend, the Chevrolet Corvette Stingray Grand Sport. Now, if you're a Fast and Furious fan, this car might jog your memory. It made a big splash in Fast 5 during the famous train heist scene. Dom and Brian steal the Corvette Grand Sport from a moving train. One of those edge-of-your-seat sequences where the car itself becomes the star. For many fans, that was their first real introduction to the Corvette Grand Sport, and it hasn't been forgotten since. But what about in real life? Unlike the Lykan, the Corvette Grand Sport isn't some ultra-limited hypercar. It's a proud piece of American engineering, rooted in racing history. The name Grand Sport goes all the way back to the 1960s, when Chevrolet secretly built a handful of ultra-lightweight Corvettes to compete against Shelby's Cobras. Only 5 originals were ever made, and today they're worth millions. The modern version that Vin Diesel has in his collection is based on the C6 Corvette platform. Under the hood, it packs a 6.2-liter LS3 V8 engine that produces about 430 horsepower. It's not as wild as the 1,600 horsepower Charger or the diamond-flashing Lykan, but don't underestimate it. With a 0 to 60 miles per hour time of 3 seconds and a top speed over 185 miles per hour, the Grand Sport is a proper track-ready machine. What makes the Grand Sport special is how it blends Corvette looks and handling with a more affordable, road-friendly package. You get the wide body stance, race-inspired suspension, and massive brakes, without stepping all the way into supercar territory. In many ways, it's the perfect bridge. Not as extreme as the Lykan, but sharper and faster than your average muscle car. And for Vin Diesel, this car is more than just specs. It's a symbol of his love for American performance outside of Dodge. The Corvette has always stood as the United States' answer to European exotics, proving you don't need to go to Italy or Germany to experience speed and style. Owning one isn't about showing off. It's about honoring a racing legacy that's lasted for decades. Iconic American Pontiac. Just when you think Vin Diesel's garage couldn't surprise you any further, there's another legend waiting. The Bonneville Diesel isn't just any car. It's a fourth-generation model that carried the now iconic Coke bottle design. Long, wide, and confident, it stretched an impressive 220 inches, making it one of Pontiac's largest creations. To put it simply, this wasn't just a car. It was a yacht gliding on 4 wheels. And when you remember Vin Diesel himself stands at around 6 feet tall, the fit feels almost too perfect. But here's the twist. The Bonneville isn't the only Pontiac tied to Diesel's story. If you've ever watched the 2002 film XXX, you've already met another star, the 1967 Pontiac GTO. Unlike the Bonneville, this one didn't just reflect Vin Diesel's image. It performed alongside him, leaving skid marks on the screen and in cinema history. Under its hood lurks a 6.6-liter V8 paired with a rear-wheel drive automatic. That's power you can feel in your chest before the car even moves. But here's the payoff. This isn't some replica or tribute build. It's one of the actual screen-used stunt cars, modified specifically for the outrageous action sequences of XXX. And yes, it's up for sale. Step inside, and curiosity takes over. The dashboard doesn't just have a few gauges, it bristles with at least 16. Some were pure movie magic, a flame-accented turbo boost dial, props hinting at secret gadgets, and switches that made audiences believe Diesel's Xander cage could outrun anything on wheels. Not every device may still function today, but in a clip from Jay Leno's garage, the car's former owner proved several still do. The paint tells its own story, too. The GTO still wears its custom black and red livery, complete with the bold XXX branding and side pipes that roar with cinematic attitude. For collectors, that's the holy grail, a piece of Hollywood that doesn't just sit behind glass, but actually drives, rumbles, and breathes like it did 2 decades ago. Too Fast, Too Furious. Vin Diesel has always been associated with unforgettable escapes in Fast and Furious. But one of the most iconic moments came behind the wheel of a car that became a legend on its own, the red 1993 Mazda RX-7 FD. This wasn't just a vehicle in the background, it played a central role in shaping Dominic Toretto's character and his reputation. The RX-7 first appeared during the street race between Dom, Brian O'Connor, Danny, and Edwin. It was a race that set the tone for the rivalry and brotherhood between Brian and Dom. Brian, driving his Mitsubishi Eclipse, tried to gain the upper hand with nitrous. For a brief moment, it seemed like he might take the lead. But then came the first payoff. Dom calmly waited, then unleashed his own nitrous system. The the RX-7 shot forward, leaving Brian struggling to keep up. That instant showed not only Dom's confidence, but also the raw power of the car. Of course, the thrill of victory was short-lived. Sirens cut through the celebration as the police arrived to break up the race. Here, Dom demonstrated why he is remembered for his escapes. He didn't panic. Instead, he drove the RX-7 into a parking garage, parked it neatly, and continued his getaway on foot. The move was both clever and practical, showing that Dom's survival instincts were as sharp as his driving skills. Most fans might have assumed the RX-7 was gone after that night, but surprisingly, Dom managed to retrieve it. The car later appeared at his house, right before he introduced Brian to the legendary Dodge Charger, which we talked about earlier. It was also spotted at Race Wars, parked near Dom's trailer, reminding everyone that this RX-7 was far from forgotten. Beyond its role in the story, the RX-7 was an impressive machine in real life. It carried a stock twin-turbo 250-horsepower engine, paired with a 4-bottle nitrous system. Its suspension remained stock, but was supported by aluminum struts, making it steady under pressure. The car's looks were just as striking, with a Veilside USA aero body kit, an RX-7 GT rear wing, Lexan headlight covers, and Veilside rims. Even when standing still, it had a presence that demanded attention. When filming ended, the RX-7s used for production found new homes. 3 were sold and ended up in different places, one in the Netherlands, one in Florida, and another in Las Vegas. One of the cars even returned in Too Fast, Too Furious. This time, it was repainted with a new body kit and graphics, driven by the character Orange Julius during the opening drag race and later in the warehouse scene. Although its appearance was different, the engine remained unchanged, a quiet nod to its origins. Today, the original RX-7 is stored in his garage, but there are rumors, hinted at by Craig Lieberman, that it might return in a future Fast and Furious film. But the story of Dom's garage doesn't stop there. After the RX-7, another rare gem entered his garage, and it was gifted to him by Tyrese. Tyrese Gibson gives Rolls-Royce. Birthdays usually bring cake, candles, maybe even a sports car if you're Vin Diesel. But this time, his longtime friend and Fast and Furious co-star Tyrese Gibson had something completely different up his sleeve. And when the surprise rolled in, it wasn't just a gift, it was a statement. Vin had always admired Tyrese's custom Sprinter van. Tyrese looked like a rolling luxury lounge, the kind of ride where you could sink into the seats and forget the world outside. Vin would joke about wanting one too. Little did he know that the running joke was about to become reality. Because Tyrese didn't just order Vin a Sprinter, he took it to the next level. The foreshadowing had been there all along. This time, Vin was getting his own Sprinter, but with a twist, it was Rolls-Royce inspired. From the outside, the van carried an unmistakable touch, the Spirit of Ecstasy emblem, a detail that instantly blurred the line between van and limousine. Its long, sleek body stretched over 19 feet with a height of about 9 feet, making it stand out in traffic like a VIP shuttle from another world. The interior wasn't just stylish, it was practical. A boosted climate system pumped cool air through 6 custom vents, each proudly wearing the Mercedes-Benz star. But then came the surprises. Built-in Apple TV turned the van into a mobile theater, while a retro-style phone sat in the back. Who would Vin even call with that handset? That curiosity gap gave the gift a playful edge, modern tech meeting old-school charm. Vin's reaction: pure gold. He climbed in, wide-eyed and half laughing, half stunned, For a guy used to roaring V8s and fast cars, this kind of gift hit differently. Tyrese explained his bigger dream: to convince Rolls-Royce to make luxury vans, something the brand had never dared. But instead of waiting, he built his own vision. And of course, the humor came too. Overwhelmed, Vin joked that now he owed Tyrese a plane, maybe even a Gulfstream G5 jet. Vin Diesel really did pay it forward. Not long after, he turned around and gifted a luxury car to none other than the Princess of Dubai. Secret gift. To Dubai Princess. Vin Diesel, best known for his role as Dominic Toretto in the Fast and Furious series, is no stranger to sharing a love for fast cars. But this time, instead of racing one on screen, he decided to give one away. According to Arabian Business, Diesel gifted Dubai's Her Highness Sheikha Latifa bint Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum one of the Dodge Challengers that have become closely tied to his Toretto character. The princess shared her excitement on Instagram, posting a photo of the sleek ride. Along with the car, Diesel made the gesture even more personal by including a signed CD, a postcard, and a handwritten note. The note read, "To my extended family in Dubai, thank you for the love. Your friend always." It was a simple yet heartfelt message that perfectly captured his appreciation for the warm welcome he had received in the region over the years. The gift clearly left an impression. In her post, the princess wrote, "Thank you, Vin Diesel, for this wonderful gift. It was a great pleasure meeting you and your family." Her words reflected not just gratitude for the car, but also the connection made during their meeting. From the photo she shared, the Challenger appears to be mostly stock, but with stylish red accents both inside and out, set against a deep black base color. It's a striking combination, bold yet elegant, much like the cars that Toretto himself is often seen driving on screen. The Dodge Challenger is no slouch when it comes to performance either. Models like the one gifted to the princess come with a 5.7-liter Hemi V8 engine, producing a solid 375 horsepower. Known for its low-revving, high-torque muscle, it's the kind of car that feels just as comfortable cruising through the city as it does roaring away from a stoplight. This thoughtful gesture from Diesel shows a different side of the action star. While his movies are all about adrenaline-fueled chases and impossible stunts, this moment was about friendship. Luxury motorhome. Imagine traveling the world and never leaving the comfort of home. That's exactly what Vin Diesel managed to pull off with his legendary luxury RV, nicknamed the Comfy Cabin. But don't let the soft name fool you. This rolling mansion was a two-story, $1.1 million masterpiece built by Anderson Mobile Estates, the same company behind Will Smith's famous The Heat. And while Diesel's rig didn't carry the highest price tag in Hollywood, it hid a few surprises that made it just as unforgettable. From Puerto Rico during Fast and Furious shoots to the cold streets of Montreal while filming Riddick, Dead Man Stalking, this massive trailer was always parked nearby. But here's the twist. It wasn't just Vin's personal hideaway. Designed as a full family home, the Comfy Cabin often carried his loved ones along for the ride. That little detail makes the story hit differently, doesn't it? Step inside and you'll notice the first foreshadowing of what makes this RV so unique. Like most Anderson models, the walls slide out and the roof lifts up, expanding the interior to a jaw-dropping 1,100 square feet. Downstairs feels like a cozy living room on wheels, with suede sofas, coffee tables, and a huge screen for downtime after long days on set. Right next to it is a compact yet fully loaded kitchen, a sub-zero fridge, a burner stove, a microwave, and even a cute dining nook for two. Already impressive, right? But wait, there's more just around the corner. Tucked behind velvet curtains is a private conference room, one of the trailer's smartest mini payoffs. This space holds a desk, a couch that doubles as a bed, and the flexibility to transform from business hub to chill zone in seconds. And here's the curiosity gap. If the first floor already has this much going on, what could Diesel possibly have done with an entire second story? That's where things get interesting. While some stars turned their upper decks into glitzy party lounges, Diesel flipped the script. Half of his second floor became a children's playroom, complete with padded flooring, giant pillows, and a netted doorway for safety. The rest of the space worked as a media lounge, an extra desk, and his open-plan master bedroom with a bed for two. In short, it was a family-first design, proving that Vin's idea of luxury was keeping his people close. And then there's the tech, because of course, no Hollywood rig is complete without it. Packed inside was $70,000 worth of gadgets. Flat-screen TVs with Blu-ray, smart remotes, a 360-degree surveillance system, and even fingerprint security for restricted areas. Layer on Italian leather, granite